Alright, so in today's video we're going to be putting the blue retro GameCube adapter into this GameCube, which I already modded. I have other videos. I'll leave those down in the description so you guys can go look at those videos, as I've added the Raspberry Pi Pico and some fan mods and a bunch of other stuff to this guy already. So this is just going to add more functionality for controllers and being able to use wireless controllers with this guy that's not just a Wavebird. So let's get into it. So unlike the Raspberry Pi Pico modification, it doesn't require any soldering. I just need to hook up some wires and replace the GameCube controller port and the board that's in here with this guy, and it'll give the ability to use newer controllers like PlayStation controllers and Xbox controllers, as well as other various controllers. I'll leave the link down in the description for Castlemania, Laser Bear, a bunch of places where you can buy this so that you guys can use it if you need to. And since it doesn't require any soldering, you can just keep the board that was originally in here and swap them back if you want to try to sell this guy or anything like that, so you don't sell it with the modification, or do and just let them know and maybe package in the original as well. I plan on keeping mine just in case this guy runs into any issue or anything like that. This also gives a bunch of other features, which we'll discuss when we actually start using it. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch camera angles and we'll start installing this guy, and then near the end of the video we'll be doing some hands-on with this guy and try to give my first time impressions of it, and let's get to it. Alright, so the first thing we got to do is open this guy up, and the easiest way is just taking these guys off. I don't think it's necessary to remove these. I'm not going to, but it might make it easier depending on how far we have to go down in this. I don't think you have to go that far into the GameCube. I believe it's just the outer shell needs to come off, and then we need to unplug a few things and change out the face plate at the front, which has the controller ports in it. And just make sure we set screws in the right spots so that we don't forget what goes where. So this guy has some online features as well. I don't know exactly if it's able to give games the online functionality, but at least you should be able to update the firmware through a website URL, which is listed on the user guide that is on the web pages where you buy this guy from. So easy instructions. Alright, so we got this guy up. Like I said before, I got the Pico mod on this side, I got the fan mod over here. And I believe I just need to reroute the fan as well as the power over to this front guy here. But for right now, let's just take out the front guy here. And all you got to do is take this off right here, just like that. And so now we need to get Phillips screwdriver. I got my iFixit kit. And it looks like it's probably going to be one of the bigger ones. So let's try this guy. And we'll set the other tip for the outside casing for it over there. And so it's just as simple as taking these two screws off and replacing it with the board we have to replace it with. I'm not sure what this button does, but I think it tells it when it's closed. I'm not 100% sure. Let me know down in the comments if you guys know what this does, as it's on both of them and I'm not 100% sure what it does. I assume it's got something to do with telling them that this is closed or that the actual CD player is closed. Probably one of those. So this just slides back in to replace right that, and then we'll be done with Phillips head screwdriver, as that's the only thing we have to do to mod this system with this guy. The other thing I'm not sure about is what other things we need to attach here. I believe both of the power and fan need to be rerouted, so I need to find a way of doing that. And I think that's what this is for. but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be for the fan or if it's supposed to be for the power. They both seem like they're kind of small. So maybe it's not for that. And possibly it's meant for the power one, but I'm not 100% sure. It does look like they're the same, so I'm going to try to use it with the power guy. That's what it looks like it's supposed to be for. It's supposed to extend the power lead here so that you can reach the board that's up the front, because it's kind of a tight area. So I'm going to go ahead and add this guy in just like this. And then there's the fan lead, and we'll have to manage some cables here, but other than that, it should be fine. So then I need to make sure I plug this guy in just like that. And I'm not sure how it can tell what the fan is supposed to be at, or how the system is supposed to tell the fan what to be at, but so I got some issues here because this isn't long enough to make it all the way over there, so I'm going to try and see if this one will reach. Yeah, so it looks like the power one would reach. So I'm going to try to put this guy back in, but first I'm going to need to put lots of cables to worry about in small location. Alright, so I got the ribbon cable in there. The original one's actually quite easier to get to be in there, but that's fine. We will close that up like that. And it looks like the power guy here can fit as long as I maneuver it correctly. And it's going to be still a tight squeeze to try to plug it in, but I can also just take this off. There you go, got it. So it looks like this wire is kind of short for the run it wants to be at. And so I'm going to have to make sure to watch this guy when I put it back together. That should work just like that. So you got to be careful here when you're closing it up. I might come back later on and put some heat resistant tape here just to make sure, kind of like I did with the Pico on this side, and just make sure that this won't go in onto the actual plastics here, since that could cut the power there and cause some problems. And it looks like I didn't need this at all, which is cool after putting it all together, as I think it'll work just as is. Cable to manage the cables a little bit right there. Same thing with the fan. Got to make sure that that's all cable managed, as there's a lot of extra cable here. I need to make another mod for the fan, as the fan I got does not seem to do very well in here, as it is kind of too long of a cord, as well as the adapter and everything. So I might look at getting a Noctua and seeing how that behaves and see if it's better, and try to maybe watch some videos seeing about the Noctua one. And I just realized I forgot this guy, which means I have to take it apart again because I was supposed to do this first. So I'll probably speed that up so you guys don't have to worry about that. Alright, so now that we're back here, you're supposed to put it in between, right here, in between those two controller ports to make it the easiest thing. So I'm just going to slide it in there and get it to work. as I don't want to take the board back out. There you go. Got it in there. Probably isn't the prettiest looking thing. I do probably plan on changing some wires in here, try to get it shorter runs so that there's not as much extra cable just sitting in here. And that seems to be the biggest problem for my setup right now. And maybe the Noctua fan one replacement will be a little bit better, but for right now it's what I have, and it has worked up until this point. So let's screw this guy back in, and then we will change camera angles again to a completely different scene, and we will test this guy out, see what it's like playing some GameCube games with newer controllers as well as whatever's supported on here. I'm also going to probably try some controllers that are not officially supported, at least on the list, and see if those work. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this mod, and do you think it works after I put all of it together? And change camera angles back to over to the desk setup with the PC and everything, and try it out. All right, so now we're over by the computer. I got my GameCube set up here with some controllers as well as this guy. They all seem to work great. It's kind of confusing to use the Xbox controller on the GameCube though, because I'm not sure what buttons go where. So that's been definitely an interesting thing. So let's go ahead and I'll show you guys turning this on. Color changes there, as well as that's the Pico that you can see on the side here. But see, you can see I have the Wavebird plugged into 4, and then my controller I think automatically synced up because it was still on. So let's switch over to this view. So you can see I'm using this controller and it's moving. So that's really cool to have this guy, as well as the Xbox controller works. I didn't have any controller that's like obviously weird or anything like this. This is just the 8-bit Do Pro 2. And it just works fine with this guy. And that's pretty much all I have to show, because there's not a lot of functionality here that isn't is different from any other Pico enabled one. That's what this is that you're seeing right now. So what I can show is if you press both the triggers start and the bottom face button, which in this case is B, it'll shut off the console. So just shut off. Then you can press, in this case, I think it's the home button. And it should, I've had some hit and miss compatibility with it just not turning back on. I don't know if it's this controller, because they have it updated it a few times to try to get the 8-bit do controllers to work with this guy, and so sometimes it just doesn't turn on. The one time I got it to turn on was just within seconds of turning it off, it worked. Other than that, I haven't been able to get it to turn back on, so that's kind of shoddy there. I didn't try it with the Xbox controller. I'm sure it works better, which I can try in a second. But the easiest way to just turn it back on is just to hit the reset button and it turns back on. Don't touch the power button because that messes things up. It works eventually. You just have to turn it on and off a few times and then it'll figure it out again. But there's some issues there, which I think they just can't get around because it doesn't understand that concept. So kind of a built-in feature that they did after the fact. Let me see if I can get the Xbox controller to sync up. All right, so I got the Xbox controller synced up. Just like that. Works just fine. And then we can go back over here and I'll try the same thing. I believe it's this one. So if you hit those guys, I'll move it out of the way. Turns off. Now, I don't know if it'll work. Turning on. Yeah, turning it back on seems to be kind of finicky. I haven't been able to, after the controllers have all disconnected, it hasn't gone again. Let me try. I can't take the battery out of this guy, but oh, there it goes. So it eventually does it, and no signal. There it goes. So it does eventually do it. It seems like it just takes a second. And you got to wait a little bit longer, or do it immediately, so that the controller hasn't been turned off from being connected to the system. So there's some issues. I wouldn't even say those are your issues, actually. I'd just say that those are little things you got to work around to try to get them to be synced up or not, and so that there's enough time for it to realize, oh, you turned the controller back on. So overall, that's all that it does to enhance the GameCube that I have here. But with all of that together, I can not have to touch the GameCube at all to be able to turn it back on, as well as using any controller I want, as well as being able to download the discs as well onto an SD card, as well as all of the functionality that's been in the previous video. So let me know down in the comments if you guys think this mod is worth it. I like it mostly because it's not soldering and it's about $100. It's a little pricey, but I actually kind of like it to make it even more modern feeling than it has with the just default out of the box experience, since the Wavebirds are kind of getting expensive and you can probably spend $100 just on one of these. Whereas if you bought the mod here for $100, you can use any controller you have for any of the consoles you have. So that's a kind of a bonus there. So before we get out of here, like this video if you liked it, dislike if you don't, hit the subscribe button and then turn bell notification on so you get notified when we upload new videos. As well as we go live on Twitch. We play all types of stuff over there, though. I don't try to stick just to retro on Twitch. I'll be doing lots of different things there, lots of different variety there. But this channel, I'm going to try to push more for just retro stuff. So follow the links down in the description for this mod, as well as the rest of the videos that I've done for the GameCube. And all the links will be down there, will be marked as affiliate if they are. And if they are marked as affiliate, that means we get a little bit of money by you guys purchasing things through those links, and that's much appreciated. Helps fund a lot of the videos here. So look at down in the description for Amazon link, as well as I'll put some Castlemania links down there. Those are all affiliate links, so much appreciated. And Look at all the socials down there and all of that stuff. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.